All right, Keith. Well, it's come to that time of week. It's Spitball time.
I'm ready.
All right,
The
so
SB moment.
the sanitised Spitball game.
Indeed. The COVID-19 spitball moment.
That's right. So it's Corona friendly.
Indeed.
If that even makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw a Spitball at the DVDs or Blu-rays, and we're going to just talk about whatever it lands on, see where it goes. I'm going to film you. Let me just get my camera going here. All right, my friend.
All right. All right, let's do this.
All right. What direction do you reckon?
The anticipation is building. I'm just going to go right over to my right here. I'm feeling some good vibes. You ready?
Right. Yep. I can't even see it.
Okay, so it's
Oh, there we
landed.
go,
It's
look at
landed
that.
equally on two things, which we can both discuss:
Oh dear.
Intolerable Cruelty and I Am Sam. Let's hit I Am Sam first.
Of course, you're going to hit I Am Sam. There's a soundtrack involved with that one.
There is from the boys, and there is a performance that features an actor going full retard.
Without a question. It is. I don't know how I feel about that one because when I saw it, I was following that wave of awe. I thought, this is a really, inspiring movie, and everyone loves it when actors go full retard.
Yeah,
Like it's
they
just
do.
one of those things that it's the miss. What's the word? It's the impression of good acting.
That's right. That's
But
right.
it doesn't necessarily mean it's good acting.
No, I agree. It's the fact that someone's playing someone with some sort of mental or physical impairment that just by default it must be great.
Which is, satirized in Tropical Thunder.
Yes.
Simple Jack. I think there's a statement to be made in that.
That is a brilliant film.
It is. So, I Am Sam. Who's the female lead? Is it Michelle Pfeiffer?
Oh, I think so.
Yes?
Yeah, it is Pfeiffer.
Essentially about a mentally disabled man who loses custody of his daughter, which
Yeah.
is Dakota Fanning,
Dakota Fanning.
and just fights to get her back.
That's right.
Boy, I don't know what to say about.
He got an Oscar nomination for it, didn't he? I reckon he.
That's what that's the whole point of Tropic Thunder.
That's
is that
right.
if you do that, that's what happens.
That's right.
Oh,
Michelle Pfeiffer. Man, I haven't seen her in anything in ages.
But anyway, soundtrack is all Beatles.
Yeah, which is
Covers of Beatles.
Yeah, which is not so good.
No.
Yeah, the originals, I just don't do them.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Do you want to film me?
I do.
All right. Just hit the record there when you're ready.
Okay.
Hang on. That's all right.
Yep. All right, my friend.
I am waterlogged, sufficiently soaked. All right. I'm going for the Blu-rays.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's landed nowhere.
It's landed on
Above.
top of Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. Okay. Well, that's an interesting one to talk about.
That is. Just one more. He just-
Please, Lord, give me the strength to get one more.
What do you think of Andrew Garfield's performance in that film?
This is an interesting one because I just mentioned Sean Penn gave the impression of a good performance. I think this gives the impression of a good film, but it's not.
I don't think it's a great film either.
I was very excited when Hacksaw Ridge came out because it's big old Mel back on the
Yeah.
scene. I love Mel Gibson, and I love his directing.
Oh, yeah.
So I was excited about this, but I just think it's a very flimsy film indeed. Like, I think the cracks show.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's transparent. Clearly, it was filmed in Australia. I don't think he did a good enough job to conceal that fact.
No, it doesn't feel authentic in that regard, does it?
No, there's gum trees everywhere. There's poxy accents that aren't quite American. I don't think the performances are particularly good. I think the story's remarkable.
Oh, it's an amazing story, yeah.
There's elements of the filmmaking that are quite remarkable as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, once they hit the battlefield, all
Yeah.
that stuff from a technical point of view is impressive.
Definitely, but it just doesn't bind well for me.
Yeah.
Particularly the flashbacks, constant flashbacks to the romance and
Yeah, look, I agree. And I think it's a very old-fashioned war film.
Yeah.
I feel like, in the advent of Dunkirk 1917, there's a new style of war World II film to be told, or World War One.
Yep.
So I think it's very dated. It would have been great in the 90s, but I reckon it's dated.
wasn't the return I was hoping for.
No, so I agree. Like, I'm glad he had I think it was a pretty big hit, and he got a lot of award nominations. So I'm happy to see that happen for him. But
It announced his return.
that's right. But I was not a fan.
Okay.
Didn't see him invited at the ceremonies.
Well, it's your turn.
Yep. All right.
Through.
Shall I go behind me?
Yeah, why not? Over the shoulder. Let me film this because I like doing that. And I want to see where you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so whenever you're ready.
I'm going behind me. I'm going to do the backwards. If this looks uncoordinated, then...
All right, well, where it goes, no one knows. Ooh, what do we... Oh, no. That's on...
It's on Rio, I Love You,
Rio, I Love You.
which is a film I haven't seen.
Okay, well, this is part of an ongoing experiment. This is awesome. There's a train. That's right. This is a behind the scenes video, so people now are aware that we have a train that goes by every 5 minutes.
Is it a Woody Allen? It's not a Woody Allen film, is it?
No, that was
Rome with Love.
To Rome with Love.
To Rome with Love.
No, so the first one in this series was Paris Tacham,
Okay.
which had a lot of famous directors, doing segments. It's an anthology film.
Gotcha.
The first one had, I think, about
4 rooms.
Well, it had about, I think, 12 films all combined.
Okay.
And then the second one was New York, I Love You.
Oh, I know that. I'm familiar with that.
Yep, so that's the second piece. Then there was Rio, I Love You. There's Jerusalem, I Love You.
Wow.
There's Berlin, I Love You. One of them, I think it might be the Jerusalem one.
Pyongyang, I love you.
It just went straight onto their website because it's an ongoing experiment now just to see if they can sort of tell short love stories from all around the globe in different cultures.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and they get famous people to direct them. I'm blanking on who some of those are, but I think the Coen brothers might be in there.
Wow.
I know Sarah Polley did one, I think, on Rio. Yeah, people you don't expect to direct as well.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
And Christoph Waltz is in one of them, I think.
Christoph, is he?
There's a lot of famous actors in them.
Christoph's an interesting guy.
Rio, I Love You. I only acquired that recently, so I haven't actually watched it yet.
Well, now, you've got the paper on it now, man. It's time.
Wow, that's it. The Spitball has spoken.
That's right.
What do we got now? I think I'm going to go in the same direction.
Yeah, go for it.
We won't film this one.
No,
I think
that's good.
we can just trust that it lands where we say it does. I know where I hope it lands. Oh, once again, I'm like landing in between things. Oh, there we go. Was that Prairie Home Companion, the final Robert Altman film?
Yes, I remember.
Bit of P.T. Anderson in this one.
I was just about to say, rumored to be ghost directed by Paul.
Well,
he did direct some of it, didn't he?
It wasn't so much ghost directed. Because Altman was ill when he made this one, his health was failing. They, as an insurance policy, they hired PT to shadow him all the way through the production.
Wow.
So that should he be struck down with, death, PT could take over and finish it.
Wow.
Which makes sense because P.T. Anderson's can be argued a very Robert Altman-esque.
Particularly at that point in his career. Is this 2002, 2003, 2004?
4-ish.
2004. Yeah, because he did at Gosford Park in 01, didn't he, Altman? Yep. He had Magnolia, Boogie Nights. Yeah, yep. He was the Altman boy at that point, wasn't he?
And interestingly too, the Prairie Home Companion is a real radio show in the States. So the host of that radio show is the host of this film.
That's awesome.
And it's all the behind the scenes, but they've employed all of the famous Hollywood actors to reenact it. John C. Reilly, Lindsay Lohan's in it.
Julianne Moore, is she in it?
Julianne Moore, she's an Altman alumni.
She is, and a PTA alumni.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I only watched Shortcuts again recently.
Never seen that.
My favourite Robert Altman film. I think this is very much up your alley.
I got to see it. You've spoken to me about this before. It's a shame I haven't seen it. I need to see it. What about sorry, no, you go.
No, I was just about to say, like, if you've ever seen Magnolia, this is Magnolia done better. Now, I say that.
Whoa, man!
I say that considering that Magnolia is a perfect film.
It's a fantastic film.
I love everything about it.
Featuring Tom Cruise's best performance, in my opinion.
The second best, I would say, is Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a very lousy segue. But, yeah.
What are you a fan of Altman? Like a big fan?
Huge fan.
Okay, so I'm more of a PTA fan.
Of course.
But have you seen The Long Good? Oh, is it The Long Goodbye? Yeah, The Long Goodbye with Elliot Gould. That's a great film.
Yep.
Brilliant film.
Look, Shortcuts would be my favourite. I think Altman's best, from a personal point of view, would be MASH.
MASH, yeah.
That is something else.
That's a great film.
Obviously, the legacy of that with the TV series is huge.
That's right. That's probably his biggest.
It's a very controversial film in retrospect because of the misogyny. However, once again, a time capsule piece.
Yeah.
This was an attitude at the time. It doesn't reflect modern society.
No.
But in war, particularly
the
the Korean War, misogyny ran rampant.
Yeah, it's accurate.
So why would you, in retrospect now, 2020, 2019, criticize a film made in the 70s about a war that took place in the 50s?
That's right, because people can't contextualize.
Context is key. That is the word I use all the time. Contextualize, people. Contextualize.
Context is key here, folks.
Yeah, MASH is brilliant. And that Suicide is Painless song.
Yeah. Oh, I would have tuned. And
the lyrics are in the film.
And Elliot Gould.
Donald
He's
Sutherland.
sensational. Yes, Donald. Yeah, Duvall's in that
Robert
too.
Duvall is amazing. in
Yeah,
it.
he's what an actor. He's amazing.
He's the preacher.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest actors of all
He's
time,
good.
Robert.
He's good.
And I'm not a fan of Nashville. Has to be said.
I like Nashville.
I'm not a massive fan.
Fair enough.
I don't mind it. It's not bad.
What else? But he did in his sort of 90s phase have all of these celebrity heavy cameo ridden comedy dramas.
He did.
It started with The Player, I think, which was good.
Hmm.
Then did he do Bob Roberts? No, he didn't do Bob Roberts.
I'm not sure.
Pret-a-Porter,
Yeah.
which is the one about the fashion.
Haven't
scene.
seen that one.
That's one of his average ones. But this Shortcuts are just everything Altman comes back to Shortcuts for me.
Yeah.
You're
See,
gonna have to see it.
I was a massive fan of Gosford Park. I saw it when I was a youngster.
Once again, ensemble.
Yeah,
like,
it's got
that's
an
what
incredible cast.
everyone wanted to work with him.
Yeah, so that was 2001. So it's got Helen Mirren. It's got
Yeah.
Maggie doing her Downton Abbey before Downton.
Yep.
It's got all. It's written by Julian Fellows, who won an Oscar for it, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a great film. Murder mystery. Robert, well done, son. But Paul Thomas Anderson, you're not a big fan of him, are you? Or you are and you aren't.
I am a fan of a certain part of his career.
That's right.
Yeah, so the earlier to mid career.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love is where it ends for me. Like, that's the last great film he made.
This is ludicrous. There will be blood.
Half a good film.
Oh my goodness me, people.
We've had this
We
conversation.
have.
I'm pretty sure we've had it on the podcast.
We probably have. One of the greatest films of all time. One of the greatest. I know you hate Daniel Day-Lewis. One of the greatest film performances of all time. It has to be said. I know you don't agree with me there. It is a phenomenal
he
performance.
does a good De Niro.
Do you know how have you heard that story that Paul Dano's character was another actor? I can't remember the name now. He hasn't done too much. But he was hired. He was acting. And apparently Daniel Day-Lewis intimidated him so much because he doesn't break character that they had to replace him. I feel so bad for that guy, man.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I know.
See, you just arguing my case, mate.
But you don't like The Master. I know you're not a fan of The Master.
I don't like The Master at all.
I get that. I really like The Master, but I could say it's not a very structured film.
It's a story I love, though. Like, it's a story I want to know, and I want it to be told in a different way.
Yeah. It's if you don't like it, it's worth it for Philip in one of his last great
Go to Punch Drunk Love. That's his best.
Or for
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
you reckon that's his best?
I think it's one of his best. The interaction between him and Adam Sandler down the phone line.
Oh yeah.
When he's like in his furniture factory
Yeah.
or shop, it's exceptional.
What about Capote? Do you reckon that's a great performance?
It's a good performance. I think it's almost full retard.
I'd say that's Oscar bait.
Yeah, that's
Oscar
a better
bait.
way to say it. That's more politically correct
Yeah.
than what I would say.
That's right. what about his role in Boogie Nights?
Yeah, great.
What a wardrobe.
What about Twister?
I haven't. I have seen Twister.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Back then he was this cool up and comer. Actually, Happiness, the Todd Solondz.
I
film,
never watched that.
That's a full-on film.
Yeah, I
And
avoided
he's
that.
Very, very creepy.
Yeah.
In fact, what we've just done with the Spitballs is similar to what he does, in a way.
He's in some for an A-lister. He was in some random. He's in Scent of a Woman. You remember that? He was great in that.
Yeah.
He's in I'm blanking now.
Along Came Polly. He's the guy
Along
that actually
Came Polly.
coined the sharted term.
There you go.
That's where it came
I
from.
want an innovator. He's in Red Dragon.
He is in Red Dragon, the
but-
wheelchair scene.
I find that really unusual. He was an established actor at that point, and he's playing second fiddle to guys that are arguably less
He was
talented.
never an A-list. He was never a leading man, though.
No.
Other than Capote.
That's
He
true.
wasn't really a lead.
He was just he was a phenomenal actor, Philip.
Great cast in that Red Dragon.
Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel is in that.
It is better than Manhunter.
Oh, it is better than Manhunter. Is it better than Hannibal?
No.
Yeah, see, you know what?
I love Hannibal.
This is one of the occasions where I agree with you in the unpopular view. I think Hannibal is a better film. I think Hannibal is underrated.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've argued unsuccessfully that Hannibal is possibly one of Ridley Scott's best films.
Yeah, okay. So I'd have to see it again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I never saw the flaws with it that a lot of other people did.
It really successfully. I mean, Silence of the Lambs, clearly it's a pinnacle.
Yeah, it doesn't compete with that.
But I think Ridley Scott really successfully pushed it into that horror field. So Silence of the Lambs sort of, balanced between thriller and horror, Whereas this one just goes gun
Yeah.
hell for leather into the horror genre.
It does. It gets pretty brutal.
The Ray Liotta stuff at the dinner table.
Yeah, that is unforgettable.
Beautiful,
Well,
beautiful
I
scene.
remember I was a kid when it came out, and it came out as an MA rating. Then they
Yeah.
made it, and then they wouldn't show it over Easter, like
Yeah.
they canned it, which wouldn't happen today. But that was brutal.
Gary Oldman stuff.
Gary Oldman is phenomenal in
Yep.
that film. I couldn't believe that it was him at the time. I was staggered. The only way I believed it was with a flashback, you know,
Yeah.
when he like
Yeah,
gets it.
yeah.
That's brutal. But I couldn't believe it was Gary.
Wow.
And to give Ridley Scott his credit, the book of Hannibal is insane. Thomas Harris. Yeah, it's
it
Thomas
goes in a
Harris.
whole other direction.
He went full. He Randy Quaid that book, but he went off the deep end, which is why Demi and Foster didn't want to do it because it was so unpalatable.
Yep.
And he made the film version is better. Like he made it more acceptable. It's too ridiculous.
Yep.
So yeah, and Julianne's a good Clarice.
I think so too. You couldn't have put Jodie Foster in that film.
No.
Like, it just wouldn't have worked.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Hopkins, he sort of softens his performance. He's not as crazy in this. I think
It's calculated.
yeah, he's a bit more restrained, which makes sense because he's assimilated back into society. I know we're tangenting here. I reckon it's the greatest film villain of all time.
Yeah.
Hannibal, not Brian. Sorry, Brian. Hannibal Lecter
Well,
by Anthony Hopkins. It's got to be.
Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter was spelt differently, so it's a whole different person.
It's a different character.
It's a different character. Yeah, I agree with you. It's remarkable. I go back to the Hannibal stuff a lot.
I watch Silence Lambs is one of my favorite films. I watch that regularly.
I'd say greatest thriller of all time.
Yeah. I could pay that. I haven't thought about what would be that. But I could pay that. If it was number one on the list, I would go, sure.
Yeah.
It's an amazing film. But yeah, Hopkins, Anthony, well done.
I watched him in Spotswood earlier.
did.
Actually, last week I watched him with Ben Mendelsohn,
Yeah.
Tony Collette, who was in that, Russell Crowe.
When was that made?
91.
Well, it's the same year.
Yeah.
So
So that's right. I think I can't remember what order he shot them in. Whether he did Spotswood first. I have a funny feeling he came off Silence of the Lambs.
I
straight
think
into
you're right.
Spotswood.
Silence of the Lambs came out early 91. Like it won all the Oscars the next year, but it was about a
Yeah.
full 11 months. So the
Yeah.
impact was huge. So they filmed it in 90.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like I'm obviously fascinated with Australian cinema, and what I love most about it, which I talk about on Scarefest television every week, I love the fact that the Aussie films that really make a mark are the ones that have the international actors come
Yeah.
over. I love watching people from bigger industries or household names
Yeah, coming in.
come in and sort of tell our stories from a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a case in point.
Well,
Like you look at all the great Aussie films; they've
Mm.
usually got a big American or European actor. in
Yeah,
them.
yeah, absolutely. Well, they got Anthony just in time because I reckon once Silence hit, he was an A-lister.
Look at that cast. He had no idea he was surrounded by future Oscar nominations.
Mendelssohn's exploded.
He has.
Yeah.
Well, Russell Crowe is past his prime now,
Russell.
but
Oh, what the impact he had in the 90s, early 2000s is massive.
yeah. So Spotswood would have come just before Romper Stomper, which catapulted
In
him.
92, yeah.
Yeah.
And then was he in The Quick and the Dead, the Sam Raimi film?
Yep.
And then,
And anyway,
amazing
we-
career.
yeah.
Yeah. LA
That's
Confidential.
probably-
You don't like LA Confidential. It's a great
No, I
film.
don't. It's probably a good place to wrap it.